we've got a better idea, Mitt Romney, when he'll be picking his running mate. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much. Now, before we get to names, you've talked in your article a little bit about really the schedule here for naming the pick. We can't expect it right away because it sounds like Mitt Romney has a foreign trip he's going to go on, and we should be waiting till after that.
Right. There was some speculation briefly that Mitt Romney might name his vice presidential candidate this week. And the thinking was that maybe he'd like to change the topic after playing defense the last couple of weeks, talking about Bain Capital and his tax returns, and it sure would be nice to change the subject. But we're hearing now from sources that he's most likely going to wait until after he takes a foreign trip. He's leaving to go to London and a couple other countries next week. And the Olympics are also going to kind of divert attention from the race for a couple weeks, so it just makes more sense for him to wait until early August, probably a couple weeks before the convention, name his pick then, go on a barnstorming tour, raise some money with the running mate, and then segue into the convention.
Okay, we have a chart on screen for folks just now showing how long before the convention in days some of recent VP running mate picks have been made. Now, you mentioned the tax return issue. This is crucial, right? One thing that happened overnight, of course, Rick Perry, I don't know if he's on anyone's real short list here. He didn't exactly acquit himself very well during the campaign, during the primary, but he joined the chorus of conservatives who are now calling for Mitt Romney to release his tax returns. Of course, the National Review published a piece as well saying, Mitt, get it out there.
Right. There are more and more Republicans and conservative publications who've grown weary of the tax return discussion, and a big part of that is because Mitt Romney and his campaign have said all along that every day they're not talking about Obama and the economy is a missed opportunity, and I think Republicans are starting to feel like they've had a lot of days that are missed opportunities over the last few weeks. They'd like to change the subject, stop talking about tax returns, and Rick Perry said during the primaries he encouraged Mitt Romney to release his returns then and said, you know, we don't want to be talking about this in the fall when if you're our nominee. We don't want to be unpleasantly surprised then. We don't want to still be talking about this. And here we are in mid-July and we're still talking about this. So a lot of Republicans are growing tired of this conversation and are saying, let's just release them and get it over with so we can all move on and go back to talking about the economy.
Meanwhile, quickly, before we leave you, we have to run fast, but tell us some of the names, remind us some of the names that are front runners potentially for his running mate slot.
Sure. The names that we keep hearing near the top of the list are Tim Pawlenty, the former governor of Minnesota, Rob Portman, the senator from Ohio. They're widely considered to be front runners, but we're also hearing names like Bobby Jindal from Louisiana, maybe even Chris Christie, Paul Ryan. There are a number of names still floating out there, but and at the end of the day, only Mitt Romney knows who he's going to choose.
Any dark horses? I think you mentioned a New Hampshire senator.
Right. Kelly Ayotte, who's the senator from New Hampshire. Last week we had a flurry of activity around Condoleezza Rice. I mean, we could be surprised. Who knows?